Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories from around the world. I'm Alison Lagrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's begin. Our top focus comes in from West Asia. Israel carries out one of its most intense airstrikes in Lebanon, killing at least 100 people. At least 400 were reported injured. The Israeli attack centered across eastern and southern Lebanon. Women, children and emergency workers were among the dead. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel delivered unexpected blows to Hezbollah. The remarks were made amidst the intensifying cross-border strikes over the weekend. On the other hand, Hezbollah's deputy chief, Naim Qassem, said that the group is entering a new phase in its fight against Israel. According to Ukrainian officials, Russian airstrikes on the southeastern city of Zaporizhia injured at least 16, including a 15-year-old boy. The airstrikes allegedly damaged 13 residential buildings, educational institutions and vehicles. Zaporizhia's governor said that Russia carried out 363 air and ground strikes on the region in a day's time. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is on a U.S. visit. He will present Ukraine's victory plan, outlining the country's bid to end the ongoing war with Russia. The Ukrainian president will present the plan to the U.S. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, and former President Donald Trump. Now, Zelensky started his U.S. trip with a visit to an artillery shelling factory in Pennsylvania yesterday. He is also attending the UNGA sessions in New York. And big updates coming in from the U.S. The Summit of the Future at the UNGA started in New York yesterday. The two-day summit is being attended by leaders from all across the globe. The UNGA adopted a Pact for the Future yesterday. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres described the pact as a landmark agreement for a step toward more effective, inclusive, networked, multilateral world. Now, the pact also included an annex on working toward a responsible and sustainable digital future. And Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to address the Summit of the Future at the UNGA today. Yesterday, he convened a meeting with the top U.S. CEOs in New York. During his three-day U.S. visit, the roundtable talks focused on sectors like artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and semiconductor technologies. The CEOs of Google, Nvidia, Adobe, and IBM were in attendance, among others, and the executive officers of U.S.-based companies have expressed a strong interest in investing in India. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also attended an event with the Indian community in the U.S. He addressed tens of thousands of Indian Americans at the Nassau Coliseum in New York. Prime Minister Modi redefined AI as American Indian spirit during the event called Modi and U.S. He also announced the opening of 2 new Indian consulates in the United States. And the U.S. government has handed over 297 stolen and trafficked antiquities to India. The artifacts were returned amidst Prime Minister Modi's ongoing U.S. visit. The antiquities belong to a period spanning from 2000 BCE to 1900 CE. The symbolic handover took place at the U.S. President Joe Biden's home in Delaware. The U.S. has returned a total of 578 Indian artifacts since 2024. And moving to South Asia, Anura Kumara Dissanayake has taken an oath as the 9th executive president of Sri Lanka. According to the Lankan Election Commission, he won the September 21st election with 42.31% of the votes. Dissanayake was the presidential race as the National People's Powers Alliance's candidate. The Marxist leader has vowed to reform governance in the island nation, reeling under an economic crisis. And a convoy of nearly a dozen foreign diplomats visiting northwest Pakistan's Swat Valley came under attack. A bomb hit the convoy, killing a police officer. Another 4 police officers were left wounded. A curfew has been imposed in the area, and no one has so far claimed responsibility for the attack. At least 51 people were killed and 20 were left injured after a blast in a coal mine in Iran. The blast in 2 blocks of the Tabas coal mine was caused by a methane gas leak. The explosion is one of the deadliest accidents in Iran in recent years. Now, President Masoud Pezeshkian has ordered a probe into the incident. In the U.S., a shooting outside an Alabama nightclub killed 4 people. The incident left 18 others injured. According to police, multiple shooters fired into a group of people in Birmingham. A manhunt for the suspects is underway. In Europe, a 2-story building in Naples in Italy collapsed after an explosion. The building collapse killed 2 children and their grandmother yesterday. The explosion was likely caused by a gas leak. Search efforts continue for missing people. Now, in climate news, in Japan's Ishikawa prefecture, at least 6 people died due to severe flooding, while the city of Wajima had received more than 21 inches of rainfall over the weekend. The floods prompted evacuations in central Japan's Noto region, and the heavy rainfall caused blackouts for more than 6,000 households. In the war-torn Gaza Strip, after the first rain of the fall season, displaced Palestinians were seen struggling with heavy flooding. People could be seen navigating through ankle-deep water in the camps. People were spotted trying to build sand barriers to prevent water from entering their temporary homes. And Hungary's capital city of Budapest continues to struggle with floods. This is after the water levels of the Danube River rose. Its Margaret Island, which is a recreational area with hotels and restaurants, has now been shut. Budapest is now preparing for waters to reach near record levels. And in central Argentina, firefighters were trying to put out fires raging in the province of Cordoba over the weekend. People in the towns of Los Cocos and Capilla del Monte had to evacuate their houses as the flames reached their properties. Officials say that strong winds, high temperatures, and low humidity intensified the fire. And Ecuador has decided to cut power for 9 hours every day amid the historic drought that the nation is going through. The electricity will be suspended in 9 out of 24 provinces at night, and these areas are on red alert as a drought has affected the water levels of its hydroelectric plants. From Monday to Thursday, an 8-hour night power cut will be implemented across the nation. In Brazil, Sao Paulo city, protesters marched to call for measures to tackle climate change. They also criticized the farming industry in the country. Protesters said that the goal of reaching a sustainable development is at risk. Over the weekend, protesters also marched in Rio de Janeiro, warning people about the climate crisis and to mobilize youngsters to call for more action. In the U.S., the governor of California has expanded the ban on plastic grocery bags. The new law bans plastic bags completely. This law will come into effect in January of 2026. Earlier, people were allowed to use the thicker bags that were said to be reusable. And on to business and tech news now. Indian stock market touched a record high today. The Sensex rose over 0.3%, surging past the 84,800 level. Meanwhile, the Nifty rose about the 25,900 level, and all sectors were trading in the green, with banking stocks rising 2%. Indian stock market indices have been peaking to new highs every day after the U.S. Federal Reserve cut interest rates last week. Analysts say that rate cuts has given investors new optimism for a potential surge in foreign investment. And U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris reportedly plans to unveil a new economic plan. The Democratic presidential nominee is expected to reveal the plan as soon as next week. Reports say it will outline her efforts to help Americans build wealth with specific incentives for businesses. Harris has already promised voters financial incentives and tax breaks to buy homes and start new businesses. And the US is reportedly planning to ban Chinese software and hardware used in autonomous vehicles. The US government will ban the import and sale of Chinese cars that use such technologies. It is expected to unveil the measures, citing national security concerns. Firms collect large amounts of user data to develop such technologies. The Biden administration is concerned that Chinese firms could use this data to manipulate US vehicles. And Australia's competition watchdog has sued the country's two biggest grocery chains, Woolworths and Coles. The regulator accuses these firms of jacking up prices on hundreds of products. Woolworths and Coles allegedly raised prices for products and then offered discounts on them. The regulator said that even after discounts, the products were priced higher than their original cost. An Australian real estate listing firm, REA Group, has made another offer to buy out the British rival Rightmove. The Australian firm is offering over $8.1 billion to acquire Rightmove. REA Group has already made two offers for Rightmove, and both were rejected by the British firm. American automaker General Motors plans to lay off close to 1,700 workers in the U.S. state of Kansas. The job cuts will start in November and will be completed in two phases. The move will affect only full-time and some temporary workers. Earlier this year, General Motors said that it would pause production at the Kansas plant. And thousands of hospitality workers went on strike in San Francisco yesterday. Workers from hotels like Hilton Union Square, Palace Hotel, the Westin St. Francis, and Grand Hyatt took part in the strike. The workers were demanding better wages and improved working conditions. They were also protesting against job cuts that happened during COVID-19 pandemic. Workers say that they are dealing with heavier workloads since the firms haven't hired new workers. And billionaire Elon Musk said that his space firm SpaceX plans to launch missions to Mars. He said that SpaceX will launch 5 uncrewed starships to Mars in the next 2 years. Musk added that if these missions are successful, SpaceX will launch manned spacecraft in 4 years. The billionaire added that if the uncrewed missions face challenges, the crewed missions can be postponed. American investment firm Apollo Global has reportedly proposed to invest $5 billion in chipmaker Intel. This comes as the chipmaker has been facing financial woes. Earlier, it was reported that San Diego-based Qualcomm had approached Intel with a takeover offer. If the deal goes through, it could be one of the largest acquisitions in history. And reports say that chipmakers TSMC and Samsung are planning to set up factories in the UAE. The chipmakers have recently sent their executives to the West Asian country. Reports say the projects could cost the firms more than $100 billion. This comes as the UAE aims to become a regional hub for testing chips that power artificial intelligence. And moving on to sports, and we start with cricket. South Africa clinched a 7-wicket victory over Afghanistan in the last and final game of their 3-match one-day international series. Afghanistan went in to bat first and posted 169 in their 50 overs. South Africa reached 170 runs in 33 overs. Aiden Markram's unbeaten 69 runs helped the Proteas avoid a complete whitewash. The Afghans had already registered 2 wins to secure the series 2-1. And India beat Bangladesh by a whopping 280 runs in the first test of their 3-match series. Rishabh Pant, who was playing his first test since 2022, scored a century in India's second innings. After India declared the innings at 287, Bangladesh had a mammoth task of chasing 515 for victory. India's Ravichandran Ashwin took 6 wickets while only giving away 88 runs to down Bangladesh at 234. And Australia defeated England by 68 runs in the second one-day international match. England won the toss and elected to field first. The visitors Australia were restricted to 270 runs in 44.4 overs. England saw their chances of winning dwindling as their top-order batters collapsed in front of Australia's pace attack. With the victory, Australia have now taken a 2-0 lead over England in the 5-match ODI series. In football, Manchester City's Erling Haaland netted his 100th goal for the club. This happened during Man City's Premier League match against Arsenal. He scored the opening goal for the reigning Premier League champions, bringing his tally to 100. This goal helped Haaland equal Ronaldo's record as the fastest man to score 100 goals for a European club. And Arsenal's Leandro Trossard received a red card for kicking the ball away in the match against Manchester City. He was sent off after a second yellow, leaving his Arsenal teammates and manager Mikel Arteta in shock. Arsenal led 2-1 in the match, but were held to a draw by a late Man City equaliser. The match ended 2-2, with Arsenal down to 10 men for the second half. In tennis, Team Europe clinched the 2024 Laver Cup by beating Team World 13-11. Spain's Carlos Alcaraz played a major part in the victory. The 4-time Grand Slam champion defeated his opponent from Team World, Taylor Fritz, in the decider. Overall, Alcaraz secured 8 of the 13 points as Team Europe won the tournament. And Elena Rybakina withdrew from events in Beijing and Wuhan due to a back injury. She started 2024 strong with the titles in Brisbane, Abu Dhabi and Stuttgart, but faced illness and injury setbacks. Earlier, Rybakina pulled out of the Paris Olympics and the US Open. Rybakina said that she is focused on recovering for the season finale in Riyadh. In Formula One, McLaren's Lando Norris secured a commanding win at the Singapore Grand Prix. Now closing in on his Red Bull rival Max Verstappen's Drivers' Championship lead, Norris finished 20 seconds ahead of Verstappen, narrowing the gap to 52 points with 6 races left. Oscar Piastri finished third, increasing McLaren's lead at the top of the constructors' standings. And Red Bull's Max Verstappen hinted that he might quit early if the F1's governing body keeps cracking down on his personality. He was slapped with sanctions for using a cuss word during a Singapore Grand Prix press conference. Verstappen was ordered to do public service for using a profane word to describe his car during the race. The FIA saw this as a violation of its code of conduct. Fed up with the FIA's control, Verstappen said that he might walk away from the sport. And Team India etched its name into the history books by securing a double gold at the Chess Olympiad. The men's team defeated Slovenia in the final. Grandmasters D. Gukesh, Arjun Erigaisi and R. Pragnananda were key to the Indian victory. The women's team capped off the 45th Chess Olympiad by adding another gold to India's name. Harika Divya Deshmukh and Vantika Agarwal edged Azerbaijan in the final round. And on to the world of showbiz. Lapata Ladies has become India's official entry to the Oscars 2025. The Hindi-language comedy drama has been directed by Kiran Rao. The story narrates a humorous tale on patriarchy. It is about 2 newlywed brides who get exchanged during their journey to their husband's house. The film beat 29 other films in the race. And the tickets for the Coldplay concert in India were sold out within 30 minutes. Over 13 million people logged into the ticket booking app, Book My Show, on Sunday to buy just 150,000 available tickets. Due to the high demand, the ticket selling even crashed before the sale began. The Grammy-winning band is scheduled to perform in Mumbai on the 18th and 19th of January next year. And American DJ Khaled has announced a collaboration with South Korean artists Mingyu, Woozi, and Vernon. They are a part of the popular Korean pop band 17. Khaled took to social media and added a picture with the trio with the caption, "Bless up, stay tuned." And 2025 will be a grand year for the music fans in India. After Diljit Dosanjh and Coldplay, Canadian rapper AP Dhillon has also announced a tour in India. He took to social media and stated that he will soon be coming home. The dates of his concerts are yet to be revealed. And American rapper Lizzo has addressed the controversy related to her weight loss journey. She was accused of using the weight loss drug Ozempic. Now, Lizzo took to social media to deny the allegations. The rapper also posted a few rude comments which targeted her weight loss journey. And Beetlejuice remains on the top of the North American theaters for the third consecutive week. According to experts, the movie collected nearly $26 million. This brings the film's domestic tally to nearly $225 million. And globally, it stands with a collection of nearly $329 million. The film is a dark comedy about a ghoulish spirit. And the makers of Red One released its trailer. The video shows Chris Evans and Dwayne Johnson teaming up to find Santa Claus, who has been kidnapped. One scene also shows a toy store as a portal to the North Pole from where Santa brings all the presents from. The film will release on the 15th of November. And Jennifer Aniston says that she has doubts that she will ever make another sitcom after Friends. The actor revealed in a podcast that she might never have the same experience that she had with the Friends cast. She also called the schedule of Friends the best ever on the planet. And Deadpool star Ryan Reynolds says that his parenting style has changed with time. He said he took a workshop on conflict resolution that changed his life. The actor revealed that he never yells at any of his 4 children. Reynolds shares 4 children with his wife, Blake Lively. And finally, comedian John Mulaney and actor Olivia Munn welcomed their second child. Munn took to social media and announced their daughter's birth. The couple opted for surrogacy and referred to the surrogate as a real-life angel. And that's all on this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.